Panthers v the Storm. It says Golden Point Thriller here, but who gives a shit about the Golden Point, if I'm being honest? Pissed me off.
Ruined it for you on Monday.
Mate, so I've got two things. Like, I got to the point in the game where I was like, okay, I'm not sure who's going to win it, but Storm got down that end. There was 8 minutes to go, and they didn't take the Golden Point. So it didn't take the field goal, and it pissed me off so much because I knew Roo was sitting there going, yeah, fuck, don't take the fucking point. Pissing me off. Anyway.
I had Sowie text me at the same time going, what are they doing? I go, let it play out. It's good game management.
Good game management. Anyway, Storm get the win. Look, I think for both sides, like, for me personally, they have shown in this game that they're just a tier above everyone right now. However, we need to see the Raiders against these guys right now. But I think right now, the Storm and the Panthers shown that level of rugby league with some key players out as well. They're the best two teams in the comp right now. Again, I need to see the Raiders this weekend. And I think both teams can walk away from that going, listen, a few adjustments here or there. We could either won by more or we could have won when you're looking at the Penrith Panthers. I thought they were both really, really good. I thought the Storm, it was the bravest performance easily of the season for them because the Penrith Panthers dominated them for most of the game. For the whole first half, they essentially ran for about 25 metres a set, the Melbourne Storm. They were getting dominant, and then the Panthers were going for 50 metres. At one point in the first half, the Panthers had run for 360 metres compared to the Storm's 150. Like, they were choking the life out of them. And somehow, some way, the Storm just kept hanging on. I mean, doing what Storm do. And that's the one question I've had with the Melbourne Storm. Do they have the same ticker as the Storm we know of the last 20 years? Yes, they do. They pass flying with flying colours. They absolutely do have the ticket to win a premiership this year. This week proved it. I thought they were outstanding.
Yeah, I think the Raiders can compete with these two sides, but if that's what we're going to get when we're missing Pappenhausen, Hughes and Yeo, one hell of a final series incoming.
Far out.
And like a huge win as far as the competition goes as well, as far as, the Melbourne Storm, obviously they're trying to lock up that top two finish, but if I'm Melbourne, I don't want Penrith in that top four.
Yeah, fair.
Like that's what knocked them down to fifth place.
Yep.
The Warriors, they got 3 games to come. They've got 3 games that I think they'll be favourites in. Realistically, 3 games they should win, the Warriors. As long as they keep winning, hopefully they can keep Penrith and at least make them go the long way around. Yeah,
it's a great point because nearly all of those top 4 sides, we just need Penrith out of here just so that give them at least chances possible to get that second.
Ideally, if you end up, I don't know how it's all going to play out, but if you got Penrith outside of the top 4, there's a chance that you send them to New Zealand in week 2. Or they have to go play in Canterbury, a full house there. It's a tough, as it always is every year, but this year in particular, the long way around, you might even have to go to Canberra or a Melbourne. It's going to be brutal.
What do you reckon, Timmy?
Yeah, what an unbelievable game of footy this was. And the finish to it, we'll get to the controversy shortly, but I was on the way to the Snowy Mountains watching this in the KFC car park in Goulburn, big Merino in the background. It was absolute scenes down there. And just as I said, the ramifications of the controversial decisions for what you just summed up in that if Penrith make the top 4, they're probably premiership favourites. If they don't, it just changes the whole landscape of the NRL final series. Had they have won this, all right, there's probably every chance they do finish top 4. Now you look at sort of the Warriors drawing the run home, whether or not they can sort of bounce back from some down form and win a few, but they've got a really soft draw, so it's massive. The Melbourne Storm, they haven't been doing it pretty. They were very good against the Broncos, but that was losing both their halves early on in the game, but they're finding ways to win. And look, I think they've been good without being great. But as I said, at the end of the day, you win games of footy, that's all that matters. And they're scraping home a lot of times in tight affairs, and this was another one.
Yeah, I just think they showed so much guts. Watching that game, the first half, I honestly thought, okay, this might even be a 13-plus win from the Panthers, just by how much they were. The Storm couldn't get any roll-on out of their end. They were getting absolutely jammed in defence. But they come out in the second half. I think their first set, they run for 60 metres. And what's funny is then the next set, they ran for 25. But that was their first kind of sniff of okay, boys, we've hung in there. So I wonder whether, did Penrith front load their energy a bit too much? I'm not sure. Are they going to build into a finals run where they've sorted out that second half and their energy levels are just as good? I guess we'll see. But what do you think of the match, Hammy?
Yeah, unbelievable. Real kind of finals feel to it already, just the quality of the game and all that sort of thing as well. Storm, when you're winning, gritty like that, that's a really good sign. Obviously, still missing quite a few players, and quite a few guys had to play out of position, or they test their depth a little bit as well, which was quite pleasing. I know we'll single some guys out later, but the new halves combo, Pezzett, I thought was very impressive. But a great win, and I reckon, but we're going to see this matchup, if not twice, at least once again this year, you'd imagine. Yeah, potential grand final preview.
I will say, if they land outside the top 8, the Panthers, you don't want to be in a bottom 4 with Broncos and Roosters, because we know, can the Panthers play? Are they much more likely to make a grand final? Absolutely, because we know they can play 4 good games. But the Roosters and Broncos have one really good game in them, just one. And so if you're the Panthers, it's almost like that's an even more reason to not land in that bottom 4, because you're just landing with 2 teams that at their best can potentially beat you. Whereas other years when you've had that bottom 4 of the top 8, you as a Panthers fan, you would probably go, listen, we'd be pretty sweet here. We can beat most of these sides.
I'm very curious, Hammy, I don't know if they can do sort of a mock market for us or something, but Penrith premiership odds come end of season, if they finish 4th or if they finish 5th, and how big a swing that is. Because if they finish 4th, I think they're probably premiership favourites. If they finish 5th, that blows out.
Yeah, it's a tough road, because you'd have to either beat either the Broncos or the Roosters, and then either most likely Bulldogs or Raiders, maybe Warriors.
And just the physical toll that's going to take out on them week in, week out, where a couple of sides get a spell going to prelim final, they have to come up against them if they get that far.
It's a tough one. And also, got quite a lot of young fellas in the team too. Not that I doubt how good they'll be, because I've got a lot of faith in how good they are, but that is a question. The young players, it's first final series or one of the first final series. Anyway, back to the performance. So Panthers, they went 22 from 22. That used to be unheard of, that shit. You never used to see that. Now, in any big game, they do that. It's just I can't believe how good they are. It's unbelievable. Anyway, we'll talk about the Storm first, and then we'll get to the Panthers. We'll talk about the big controversial call. I spoke a little bit on Friday, but we'll speak about it again. So a lot of people feel that Harry Grant got the penalty because he dived. But the penalty would have been given regardless, because Leota, you can't be in front. That cone in front of the kicker, you can't be. A new rule got brought in, not the start of this year, but the start of last year, I think, where as a player, no matter what, you cannot stand in front of that when it comes to drop goals. Now, I don't know if I agree with the rule. However, that's just the rule. So that's why the penalty was given. It wasn't actually given because Harry Grant dove. And so I just wanted to make that clear for people. Now, even me saying that, there's still going to be people in the comment section angry at me. That's just the rule, guys. It's it's that simple. Now, you could say, there's other times when they've been in front or whatever. Fair enough. You might be right, but technically, that's the rule. Do I agree with that? I think that we need to find a middle ground. I think that the idea that you can't have someone there ready to get a pass, I think that's a rule made by someone that might not actually have played footy that much. Because, for example, that was a quick play the ball from Penrith. What if he chose to try to score? What if he chose to go, we got a quick play the ball. I don't want to go for a drop goal. I want to score in the corner. And if Moses Leota had gone, I'm just going to get out of the way, and then the ball gets passed to him, he gets in trouble. So I do think they need to find a middle ground. Now, granted, the rule was brought in because people were taking the piss and literally standing right in front of the kicker. But as I said, although the dive was terrible, that's the rules. That's the rules, unfortunately.
I don't know what else to add.
Yeah.
It's the rule. It is what it is.
Yeah.
It's, didn't help that Leota, took that extra step or whatever as well. Once again, if I hate the whole diving and all that sort of stuff, but if I'm Craig Bellamy, I'm saying to Harry, run into that.
Absolutely.
You hit the deck, you win this game of football. It's going to get them a home final come finals time.
And also, do you know how you stop that dive? Don't be in front of the kicker.
And I think that's the start and end of it for me. If, you want that taken away, you got to play by the rules that are set. Whether they're ridiculous or not, you got to play by them.
Yeah. Timmy, what do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, I hated it. Look, if that's the rule, so be it. It's not against the refs, the bunker, any of that. If that's the rule, go with it. It just infuriates me. They brought in rules years ago around setting walls and all that to give defenders and in particular markers opportunities to get and charge down the ball, and that was a great move. I think just this particular circumstance as well, just the amount of space between these players, the space between Moses Leota and the dummy half passing the footy, the space between Moses Leota and Nathan Cleary kicking the ball, the amount of space Harry Grant had to go around Moses Leota, I hate it. No, I think it should have not should have counted because the rule is the rule. But I think they need to fix it because I reckon it's garbage.
Yeah, mate, I'm with you. I think it's garbage too. I think that it's, as I said, made by a person that doesn't understand. Like, why are we just assuming that if there's a drop goal set up that he's definitely getting the ball? Like, that makes no sense. Like, what if they want to play to Leota? What if the whole play is literally dummying to drop, like to do a drop goal and to score?
And just
as well, like we saw 2 weeks ago, like Mitch Kenny threw a ball back 20 metres. Nathan Cleary hits it from 40 out. There was no one in front of Nath at that point.
Yeah.
All right, so with that one, you thought 20 metres back to him. If it's the same scenario and Leota's there and he's 17 metres off Nathan Cleary but dead in front of him, is this cone stuff where it's a no
well,
goal as
technically I'd say so, yeah.
That's so shit.
Technically. And so don't get me wrong, the refs don't always call it because they're like, if I'm being honest, I reckon if Leota stepped away from Grant, I reckon he would have let it go. But I think what made it is because he stepped towards him. That kind of made it, okay, I've got to call this. So there's you can actually watch when the Melbourne Storm try to do a field goal, you can see players running out of the way, as in of the guys trying to charge down. But I'm with you, mate. I don't like the rule, but that's just the rule.
It's bringing so many rules into our game, trying to take out what should have been a fantastic, finish the game from the Panthers' point of view. And Nathan Cleary, again, icing a game with a brilliant field goal, and we were ripped of that because a technicality in the rule book that I just think is a joke. Fortunately, as it ended up, we got another brilliant finish through Harry Grant, but that doesn't help the Penrith Panthers.
So this is the exact rule. So in the current NRL rules, players must be behind the ball when attempting a field goal. Specifically, players are not allowed to be in front of the kicker or obstruct the path of the ball. If a player is found to be obstructing the kicker, it can lead to penalties, and the NRL has implemented a system where the bunker reviews field goal attempts to ensure compliance with these rules. The rules are to maintain fair play and prevent any form of obstruction during field goal attempts.
Without bringing up another one, this is why I hate that we still have Golden Point. I know this wasn't in Golden Point, but, mate, the shit fight around field goals.
Oh, I hate field goals.
You all tell me how exciting and how good they are. Whenever they happen, you all bitch and whine about them for a week,
Mate,
and everything's wrong with it.
I don't like field goals. I've never liked field goals.
You know what was heaps exciting? Harry Grant scoring a try to win the game.
Yeah, mate, I'm with you. Matty can tell you, mate, for the last 5 years I've spoken about this. I never understood with rugby league, and maybe it's because I've come into it later in life. So, something you never do in the game, you decide games by it. Doesn't make any sense to me. Tries are the main point of rugby league, but then when the game gets on the line and you're in the peak moment of it, you go, no, we'll just start kicking. It's weird.
And it's like Harry Grant scores that try because of this rule. Everyone moves out of the way, so everyone's so focused on that field
the golden
goal
point.
kicker.
Yeah.
I don't know. How often do we get a game decided in golden points a field goal that there isn't a controversy? The marker was 1 foot offside. This guy wasn't square. This guy was a block. This guy. It's can we just enjoy the moment? Harry Grant, great play.
Yeah.
I think that's what should decide football games.
And you're right. No one, any drop goal, there's always someone offside or not square.
Yep.
Literally every single one, you can find it.
And if I'm a coach, if you're not a little bit offside, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? Yeah, what are you doing? Anyway.
You know they're not going to call it. You know they don't want to decide these games. Push the limits.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So, guys, as I said, don't necessarily agree with it. I think we all don't really agree, unless anyone does agree with that rule. Not really. Don't necessarily agree with it, but it is the rule. The players are aware of it. You just cannot be in that cone in front of the picker. Just step out of it. And yes, I know there are times when that hasn't happened. Don't shoot the messenger, guys. Just seen on the weekend, on Friday, I was like, guys, don't shoot the messenger, but this is the rule. And there is just hundreds of comments going, you're fucking kidding, can't be. I'm like, bro, I'm just explaining what the rule is. Anyway, in regards to performances from the Storm perspective, Harry Grant was great, but I just Coates. This guy, it's the first time, and maybe there has been another time, but it's genuinely the first time I can remember where Toto has been clearly outplayed by his opposition, which is a compliment to Toto. That's how good he is. But I've never seen it before. And Coates it's the first time it's happened. That's how good Toto is, but that's also how good Coates is playing right now, which is phenomenal. Now, I'm not saying he's anywhere near Toto's level in regards to legacy and blah, blah, blah. I'm just saying that's how good Coates is going at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. And it's reading through some of my DMs and stuff on Thursday night, people going, best swinger of all time, bullshit.
Oh, my God.
I'm like, Mate, you've been waiting 4 years for someone to out-jump him, and he's fucking 5'7". What are we talking
Yeah, come on. Let's just relax on that whole chat. Like, he absolutely is one of the best wingers of all time.
But Coates, and we'll get to Daniel Tupou a little bit later in the week, but mate, if you could just get the kick in the ballpark, you don't even have to get it right.
I know.
Like, that's going to be the big thing for finals, is especially for those two sides. Like, once again, you don't have to get the kick right, because like either they'll score tries or they're going to get penalty after penalty, because you just can't afford to let them get to the ball.
Yeah, 100%. And I will say, like, the good thing for Panthers is a lot of their tries came off Coates. So if you look at that and you go, listen, we had tries scored by kicks, it shows that our defence is pretty rock solid at the moment. But yeah, I thought Coates was absolutely phenomenal.
I can't wait to see what Penrith do next time, because they're going to have to beat the Melbourne Storm at some point to win this comp, in my opinion. No shit, that's going to be a target for them.
Yeah, like what I guess, like because they're so smart with coming up with ways to bend the rules, or like certain little thing. Like, so are the Storm. So it's not just the Penrith Panthers. Any good team.
I do think it's one of the harder things to overcome, though.
Yeah, I wonder whether it's just a matter of anytime they get in good ball, do not give them time to kick cross field. Like, just shoot out of the line at them or something. I don't know.
They'll come up with something. That's probably my one criticism of the Storm, and why, particularly looking through a Raiders lens where I'm like somewhat bullish. They're scoring so many tries off kicks. And even in this game, they got away with it. But in regular time, certainly, before the Harry Grant try at the end, there were 2 tries off kicks, a try off an intercept. Like, I thought for the most part Penrith were the better team. And it's a credit to the Storm, because they hung in, and to get out the win was unbelievable. But they, each week, and I had a bit of a look, I couldn't find it, but there'd be a stat around there somewhere around tries scored off kicks in the NRL. The Roosters be up there, but the Melbourne Storm, through in particular Coates and Eli Katoa, with these aerial targets, they just go to it time and time and time again. Now, to your point, boys, a team has to be able to shut that down. And there's no reason why the Melbourne Storm can't win a prelim and then a grand final with 3 tries off kicks where Coates and Katoa and these blokes get under it and produce it. It's, probably a bit of a boring way to do it. It's not these, exceptional ball movements and tries, but you can still win it that way. But if a team can work out how to shut it down and nullify, in particular, Xavier Coates, I think the Storm's attack is only okay at the moment. We know with the level that it can hit, especially when you add Jerome Hughes back into it, but a lot of it are coming off kicks, and I reckon it's a great point you make around Penrith next time they get to them, but they've got some of the smartest coaches and players in the NRL. I reckon they'll find ways to, you're not entirely going to shut down Xavier Coates with his aerial threat, but they'll find ways to do it somewhat.
I wonder whether they'll just give a penalty away. Like, just escort him. Like, obviously don't tackle him in the air, but just escort him off and just give a penalty. Because you'd be a brave ref to 10 in the bin and escort. Do you know what I mean? Like, if just off my top of my head, I would probably be willing just to go, mate, just shoulder charge him off the ball and give the penalty away. We'll defend again. Hopefully that penalty is there so that we can just the kicks to the other side by the end of the next set.
I think, and again, so much easier said than done, Kempy, but it's just about the kick pressure, and they just need to give the kickers just that half a millisecond less to get that kick away, because what Wishy is doing in place of Jerome Hughes got some of the best short kicking game in the competition. Cam Munsters, we've spoken about it in recent weeks, has come on leaps and bounds, and I just feel like they're getting lots of times to get these kicks away across field, and if they can just have one lunatic just flying off the line on last tackle every single time to try and get that, again, easier said than done. If it can be a metre further back or to the left or to the right, something, because they're putting it on a platter for Xavier Coates.
I mean, even the ones where like they're kicking it, like it's not even a long kick, it's like a 5 metre little dink. Like, how do you get to that bloke?
That's what they're doing most of the time. It is these little dinks. They're not necessarily huge, big towering crossfield kicks at times. Like a lot of the ones they do, they just go short side to Munster or Wishart on this occasion. He just dinked it up.
Yeah, and so like, but how do you get to that bloke? If it's you got to cover 5 metres in like a second.
Like
really.
if there's a quick play of the ball, there's nothing you can do about it. Simple as that.
I love as well how many of the teams, the Melbourne Storm are doing, the Parramatta are doing it all the time. Where, like as you said, you get your kick pressure up there, but like they're getting tackled down the short side, 3 metres out from the line. They're just throwing it straight backwards, and the winger gets themselves back on side. Yeah. And it's just like, what do you do?
Honestly, I think in those situations, I'd just tell my centre, mate, literally tackle him off the ball. I don't give a fuck. Give a penalty away. But it just shows you how good the Storm have nailed it. Because it's like Coates and the Storm are making it look easy. That shit is not easy. That is so... If it was easy, you just have a tall winger on the edge and you do it all the time.
The Storm could I don't want to sort of just funnel it into one good thing that Melbourne Storm do. So they've got these attacking superstars, but they could dead set win a comp this year off crossfield kicks to Xavier Coates.
Yeah.
They could win a grand final, every chance, 12-8, off 2 tries from Xavier Coates leaping above a winger.
But because it is truly the one area that if everything goes well for the Storm, there's no technique that can stop it.
Yeah.
Whereas everything else you've got, like you can jam in, you can put pressure. They're all systems around everything else other than high balls being caught. It's almost like if you've got 2 blokes and one's just way faster than the other, he's always going to beat him. And if you're way better in the high, you're going to always catch it.
And that's where we sit there and go, all right, how far can Melbourne go? And they're weak link in terms of winning a premiership and coming up against like a big Raiders pack, for example, or a Penrith pack on the weekend is that if they lose that battle through the middle, they don't get the momentum, the spine is sort of shut down a bit. Even if a team does do that and win the wrestle through the middle, you still can't stop the crossfield kick, can you?
And you still can't stop Xavier Coates from getting a friggin' intercept. What the hell?
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah. He wasn't going to let that... he wasn't going to get mowed down this time, though, was he?
Nah.
On the intercept.
No way.
I mean, it was touch and go there. I thought he was nearly going to get caught, but he was just... He took a bit... He probably leapt from about 6 or 7 metres out almost in the end to get there.
Far out. Casey McLean is quick.
Unbelievable finish.
Yeah.
He is quick, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, Coates has just been absolutely on another level. Like, how many big plays has this bloke had in big games? Storm are using him so well. I just can't wait when they have Hughes, Pappy, Stefano's gone to a whole... I can't believe how good this bloke is.
I was about to say, Stefano since Origin, I was just running through the numbers. In the last 4 weeks, he's had 21 tackle breaks in the last 4 weeks, and he's averaging 100 and about 45 metres per game, which isn't in your pay and half sort of areas and all that, but they're fucking tough metres. Like,
jeez,
kills me that it's literally as soon as that Blues jersey was taken off, he's just gone bang.
Well, the question marks were around Melbourne's middles for a fair while, and now Stefano's playing this sort of footy going, all right, that could be problems.
And if they can just somehow get Nelson back to just solid footy, you just
25 minutes.
Yeah.
Just 25 minutes, just do your job, run straight hard, get to your front. That's it. I don't need any offloads, anything like that. I just need momentum. With them all in the side, like, fuck. They've got the grit. They've proven that. They get Hughes, Pappy, Warbrook potentially back, but, you know, they've had guys that have covered outstanding on the weekend.
Even, mate, like you look at Jerome Hughes being out now, wish he's not the same class as Jerome Hughes, but in terms of your backup half, he's like a clone of him. He does the exact same thing. He plays direct, he runs hard, he looks to take the line as often as he can. As I mentioned, that short kicking game, I think 2 of the coach tries came off his kicking game across field as well. He's a replica of him.
That's the other thing as well. Like, it's great to have Wish who comes in there, as you said. He does the exact same job. But you also lose a lot of punch without Wishy in the 14, which I think come September time, bring him back off the bench. You know, regardless of what role he plays, I just put him on as that sort of roaming 13, just his leg speed through the middle. On that as well, Trent Leary, I thought he was fantastic on the weekend.
Mate, how good! It's similar-ish. Like, he was already doing solid work, but similar-ish to Stefano to a degree. I just think Origin was the best for him. Like, I just think that game 3 really drilled home to Trent Leary that, like, am I the same as like a Yo or a Cam Murray? Absolutely not. But there's a certain type of footy that I play that's very specific to me that I'm so good at. He locks up the middle almost better than any 13 in the comp. Isaiah's still the best defensively, but Leora's not that far off.
I'll tell you what though, like, I agree with you. Like, he's his own unique player, but he's starting to look more and more like Yo to me.
Yeah, fair. That's fair. Yeah. I just think he's just like... He's a Melbourne Storm lock through and through, you know what I mean? He's not going to...
They've never really had that X-factor ball player.
Yeah, exactly.
They've just always had that guy that's just, I'm tough, I'll do a job.
Yep.
Talk about, like, Origin quality players coming up with Origin quality plays, and that charge down of Nathan Cleary, like, by the fingertips, he came from a mile away. You know, that's Origin written all over.
Yeah, at the end of the game, big season.
He played 70 minutes, so he played near enough the whole game, and he comes up with that.
And you're getting, like, physically they got dominated for most of that game, and he's in the middle in the washing machine the whole time, essentially.
And that's the other frustrating thing coming out of this game. Like, no one gave a shit about that play.
Yeah, it's true.
It's unbelievable. It was a huge effort play that decided that game, and it doesn't even get spoken about because we're too busy talking about field goal setups.
Yeah, fair. That's fair.
Circling back to the Raiders a little bit, but I mentioned the 4-pack matchup, but terrifying thing of Xavier Coates going at and Eli Katoa on there, just like our back 3, which battle under the high ball. Xavier Coates could have a field day.
Mate, what about Munster?
Unbelievable.
Is he serious?
Yeah.
Just goes to fullback and kills it at 30 years old.
Yeah. Big whoop. Went back there where he obviously cut his teeth, came through. I thought he was, didn't see it coming, but when they announced it an hour out, I was like, all right, I'm sure, I wasn't really worried for him. I knew it was going to work, but probably the one out of that rejig that surprised me was actually Pezzett.
Yeah,
came in and particularly with the kicking, so important. He had 16 kicks for 641 metres, obviously the 40-20 as well. Munster still did a bit from the back. He had 6 for 200 metres, and then Wishy had 5 for 137. So a big, clearly it was something they'd probably worked all week. He was always going to be the plan to get Pezzett in there and to control the kicking game, but I thought he was really important.
That's nearly 1,000 kicking metres, which shows you how their field position was just getting dominated.
Yeah, absolutely. But the rejig, Munster, he did a great job at the back there, but I thought Pezzett, balanced that out nicely as well.
Just on that as well, unbelievable in this day and age to get to your game of footy an hour before you go. Munster's changing position and no one knows.
Yeah, so
just
true.
Another sign of just how much of a good system it is down there. All these other clubs, someone scratches themselves and it's on the front page of the paper.
Yeah.
They move one of the best players in the game to fullback and you don't hear a peep.
And it would have been a headline all week long if that had got out. And guess who made the line break that gave the Storm the field position for Harry Gant's try? Munster. Game on the line and there's nothing doing and he just goes dummy step straight through. Bro, it doesn't make any sense. How does he do it so often? I don't get it. I just can't, this guy. And he was solid for the most of the game, really solid, got through his work. But any time the game's on the line and he's locked in, he will make something happen. It's just mental.
It's only ever when it matters.
Yeah.
Is Kempy the bane of super coaches because he should be this super coach, superstar, and we target soft matchups against, Titans and injury depleted bunnies, and he never does anything in those games. But when it's a top 4 team, he just turns it on.
It's mental.
It's like just when you put the bat signal out, he'll arrive. Yeah. Every single time.
It's just so strange. I wonder, what is his headspace? Before a game that doesn't really matter or they know that he knows is going to win, does he knowingly sit there and go, I'll just do my job today? And then when the top 4 games come around, does he go, or Origin, does he go, you know what? I'm going to fucking rip today.
I think every competitor, mate, particularly in such a good side like the Melbourne Storm, where in the softer matchup he goes, I don't need to be on today, at all. But he goes, when they come up against top 4 sides, when the going gets tough, he goes, all right, this is my moment. The competitor comes out going, I need to get us across the line. It's what all the best champion athletes do.
Just incredible the way he could just do that. Who else? I thought Murray on Seve.
Yeah.
Mr. Goggles.
The goggles.
Holy. Mate, he is strong as shit. Lot of tackles that some centres would bounce off or fall off. He was just strong in contact, and obviously his try as well. I thought he was great.
Isn't it once again and they've been doing it for years realistically, the Melbourne Storm. They always just seem to have 1 or 2 centres that are always playing reserve grade that they have to call upon every 6 or 7 weeks, whether it was young Tana Mapea for a long time. Marin Sebe's been there for a few years too. They just come in, Grant Anderson was once that guy.
Yep.
They, the way that they build a roster and the depth they have to be able to call on guys. If they're in a grand final in 8 weeks' time and there's an injury there and they have to call on him, normally I'm going, beautiful spot defender, they're bringing in a new guy.
Yep.
Sebe would just be probably do a job.
Yeah, mate. So interesting with your shout last time with Bloor and the minutes. So once again, taking off around the 48-minute mark. I wonder whether they're getting a bit of data back saying that he's fatigued, he's struggling with energy, potentially?
Well, we spoke about it in the finals last year. I felt this was the case with him last year as well. If you go back to that grand final, they did really pepper his edge as well. So, yeah.
Who went to the edge for him? Do we know?
No.
I might have been Chan came on the edge. Yeah, that's
Chan, and then Meany was in the centres. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about Chan? Just out of nowhere, came in, I think it was last year, and we're like, oh yeah, this guy's, and then he just got injured, and then he was kind of out of the running. And then ever since coming back in the centres, obviously he was on the edge on the weekend. He's been great this year when he's come back in.
You see when he goes back to reserve grade, he's a class above that grade. So, I reckon he's going to be one we're going to talk about for the next few years.
Yeah, okay. How old is Chan? He is...
He's going to be 22 maybe. He's not... I think he's...
23, so still super young. Still super young. Anyway, look, such a brave performance from the Storm. I really think that's the last little thing I needed to see from them was just ticker. Now, that doesn't mean I still think they actually have got more in them, as in their playing ability, but that was just the last piece of the puzzle for me where I'm like, nah, they're the real deal. I think they're the real deal. Onto the Penny Panthers. like they were just so clinical for so long of this game. Like they were suffocating the Storm. Any other team in the comp, other than maybe the Raiders, I think they win 13 plus in this game. Especially in the first half, they were super dominant. But it unfortunately just, they just hung in there and obviously lost the game towards the end there. And I would say they did look like they ran out of puff a little bit for about 20 minutes in that second half. They found it again towards the end of the game. So I wonder whether they need to just instead of it being a 10 out of 10 to start the first 40 minutes, maybe pull it down to a 9 out of 10 so you can spread out that line speed a little bit more. Because it did seem like they front-loaded a lot of their energy and they didn't get enough points to to push them out in front to enough.
I thought in this game too, as you said, they were clinical for so long. They just had that one moment where Blaze throws a no-look pass. Which is interesting to see. Like I could be wrong, but I think it's the first time I've seen him on the right-hand side of the field in that moment. And he got jammed up and it was a moment where he just had to take that hit and he sort of threw a blind pass. And, it's just sort of sums up the NRL for me in that moment that if you're off by 1% in one moment, that's the game. That'll turn the entire momentum. I'm really excited to see how Blaze responds against the Raiders this week. I think he's just going to run all day.
Mate, I thought Leota, especially in the first half, was phenomenal. Another guy that whenever it's a big game, always kills it.
I don't think they'll be too disheartened by this, the Panthers. Like they played some pretty bloody good footy, and at the end of the day, they came up against another champion team in the NRL who, showed enough good to get through it. But as I said, I just think the nature of a lot of these tries would have... Ivan Cleary would be sitting there going, right, tries off kicks, there was a tap back, all sorts of things to go. We played some pretty bloody good footy. Even like the Harry Grant try at the end, I think Ivan will look at that and go, guys, the amount of people we had around the ball there and everyone went for the field goal and just let Harry Grant do what Harry Grant does. We've seen him do this time and time again in big moments. If that's regular part of the game, not in Golden Point where everyone's locked in on a field goal, that try doesn't happen sort of thing. So the Panthers have been up for a long time. They were up for this again, but it wasn't their night. But they played bloody good footy.
Yeah, I said the same on Friday. Like I think people are forgetting they were on 9 on the trot. Like so, for them to be this up for this game, it just shows you that's probably maybe why they did fatigue a little bit in that last 20 minutes because they've been up for so long. I thought Ivan Cleary he summed it up really well. He said we lacked a bit of our edge. And so they had all the clinical things there, but that killer edge where they just go bang, bang, bang and score 3 tries in the last 10 minutes of a half or whatever, they probably just didn't have that. I will say just quickly, what's hilarious is I just spoke about how, it's probably the first time where a winger has clearly outplayed Toto. This is what he still had. 21 runs, 243 metres, 109 post contact, 7 tackle breaks, a line break, no errors. He had 107 post contact metres in a game where he got outplayed and he still did that. It shows you the standard we have for this bloke is so high that he can do that and we can still say, it's just crazy.
But even then, Brian Toto is 180 odd centimetres. Xavier Coates has this tremendous advantage, not only height-wise but the leap-wise as well, as he should get out jumped by.
Yeah.
So the fact that we're actually talking about him going, as you said earlier, Brian Toto was beaten in the air. Should be getting beaten in the air all the time with his height.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a great point. I thought Edwards was good, but just a couple of uncharacteristic errors. I was a bit surprised with that.
Jeez, they came in key moments too.
Yeah.
I think one towards the end of the second half, and then he turned the ball over that allowed the Harry Grant try, didn't he?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. And so just very, very uncharacteristic errors from Edwards. As I said, he still played really well. Just those key moments, that's what he usually doesn't do. He's the opposite of that.
He did it a few weeks ago against, I think it was the Titans as well, where under the high ball he dropped a few and had a few really poor errors. So, again, consistency's been the staple of his game for a number of years, but there's a few creeping in there.
I think that is the big takeaway, as you both said, for the Panthers too. I think if you take away that Blaze intercept and those Edwards drop balls, which they haven't let Blaze cross, the 50% of the field all season. They do it once. That happens. Edwards then drops those 2 balls. Could have turned very quickly in this one.
Yeah.
I just think the big thing for Penrith is it now puts them in 5th place. They've got to play the Raiders. They've got to play the Bulldogs. That'll be semi-final football for those 2 sides. It'll be big games. I just reckon if they would have won this game and been in the top 4, it might have meant that in round 27 they could have maybe just given everyone a spell for a week.
Fair.
But they put themselves in this position.
It's just, it still blows my mind that they are here where they are. I can't express to you how poorly they played at the start of the year. They were diabolical at the start of the year. and then they're playing this standard of rugby league now. It's just absolutely incredible. Who stood out for you with the Penrith Panthers, mate?
We spoke about it a minute ago with the big chase, nearly mowed down Xavier Coates, who we gave her out. But Casey McLean,
He's special, man.
He's one of these guys who obviously last year showed some glimpses. Start of the year, like a lot of the Penrith Panthers, was a little bit slow out of the blocks, but his last little while has been pretty remarkable. So obviously the ticket almost chased down Xavier Coates is very impressive, but just gets through a lot of work. 182 metres again the other day, 75 post contact,
without a line break as well.
That's right. They're tough kind of yards. He's obviously still got to take another couple of years to fill out a little bit, but hell of a footballer there. I thought he was really good on Thursday.
I'm with you, mate. He is a special talent. And what's his brother doing at the moment?
Mate, I was just about to just tell a quick story. Like my super coach draft thing I do each year at the start of the year. 3 years ago, I remember I grabbed Jesse McLean. I remember thinking, he might be a little bit too young. That was 3 years ago, and Casey's younger than Jesse. Like how far he's come in that time is unbelievable.
Far out.
And when I say 3 years ago, not the start of last season, the season before that. So it really wasn't that long
ago. I mean, you could tell at the start of this year, he looked out of his depth at the start of this year, and now he's one of the at least top 5 form centre of the competition right now, in the top 5 form-wise, I would say. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'd say top 5 form-wise.
Casey at the start of last season played in a Jersey Flegg trial. So he was still playing in trials for Jersey Flegg
That's
last
crazy,
year. It's
bro.
unbelievable.
Jesus. Tungor's, I think he's been great, Tungor, to be honest. I think that, he's improved from last year. I think most of the year, except for, it was probably your first 10 rounds where I was like, it's looking not great. Ever since they've gone on their run, I think Tungor's been quite good.
Yeah, Tungo, him and Ivan Cleary just have some unspoken or unwritten agreement that he's going to be ordinary for half the year, but when it matters come, leading into finals, he turns into the best centre in the NRL. So he's building nicely and he does it every year.
Ivan Cleary every round, like in the first 10 rounds, walks past him. He's just like, mate, you've only got a few more rounds to play shit. Tungo's like, all right, mate, I'll sort it out. Gets to round 12.
He holds up a 12 jersey in front of him. It's like,
Yeah.
mate.